Hey everyone, it's Catherine from A Perfect Place to Start, and I have the cutest Dollar Tree Christmas DIYs to share with you, so let's get started. So this project is a reindeer sign, and we're going to be using one of these wooden signs from the Dollar Tree. I think these are super fun with the beads on top. You don't have to do much to these to kind of jazz them up and give you that super fun farmhouse feel. So I forgot that you can remove these, but you're just going to take it out of the frame and paint it with a couple coats of antique white acrylic paint. And then I got these giant bells last year at the Dollar Tree. They came in a pack of 6. I just glued one down to the bottom, and then I took some black buttons, and these did come from the Dollar Tree as well, and I had already put some dots there so I could kind of map out where I wanted my eyes to be. I'm just going to hot glue those down, and then once I get those hot glued down, I'm going to take a Sharpie marker and I'm going to draw some antlers. So I didn't do anything fancy here, I just drew a couple of lines and some lines going off of them, and then this is the final look of the project.
Let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing.
So for this project, we're going to be making a Merry Reindeer sign. These signs are from the Dollar Tree. They also have a peace sign. I wasn't able to find that one at my Dollar Tree, but I'm going to give the entire sign, both front and back, a couple coats of my antique white acrylic paint. So I found this new product, or at least it was new to me, over at the Dollar Tree. It's an Elmer's spray adhesive, and it sprays on purple. I did go ahead and spray kind of a generous amount because I wasn't really sure how it was going to work, but I really liked how it worked, and I'm going to go back and get some more because I also use it later on in the video as well. But I went ahead and put some iridescent glitter on top of that. It does dry clear so you don't see any of the purple, and then I took another smaller red bell and I'm going to glue that onto the bottom, and then this is the final look of this project.
Let's go outside, the snow is falling down and every child is having so much fun. The snowman is twice the size as me with a smile, it's quirky.
We're going to make a Christmas tree out of one of the rectangle boxes that they have at the Dollar Tree. This is one that's similar. It's not the actual one that I used. This is the one that's more like a shadow box, but I am using the back of it. So I'm going to trace some scrapbook paper that I got at Hobby Lobby, and then I'm just going to cut that out. I'm using some black acrylic paint, and I'm just going to paint the sides of this to match my scrapbook paper. Once I have that all painted, I went ahead and used the spray adhesive again, and so this would technically be a Mod Podging situation, and once I sprayed that on and it attached the paper on there, it stuck wonderfully with no bubbles or anything. So I highly recommend this project if you can find it. It was in the Crafter Square area. So I'm using my sanding block. I'm just sanding off the edges to give it a smooth finish, and then once I get all the edges off, I am going to take one of these wooden stars that also came from the Dollar Tree. These are in the Christmas area. I painted it gold, and I'm going to glue it up at the top, and then I took these Jingle Bells that I had picked up last year in the Crafter Square, and I glued them all to the tops of the trees that are showing. So if the tree didn't have a top, I did not glue anything to it. And then here is the look of this final project. I think that it turned out super cute, and it gives a really kind of fun vintage vibe to it.
We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing? In Christmas time.
For this project, we're going to create a pallet reindeer, so I'm using one of those crates that's from the Dollar Tree that looks more like the slatted boxes, I guess they're called, and I'm going to just give it a good coat of my Truffle Waverly chalk paint. I go ahead and paint the entire crate. I also go ahead and paint some of the tumbling tower blocks with the same color. I painted 6 of those because we're going to use those as the antlers. So once I get it painted with my Truffle chalk paint, I go ahead and go over it with just some lighter brown acrylic paint to give it some dimension, and then I had this round circle in my stash. I'm pretty sure it came from Hobby Lobby. I painted that with some red acrylic paint, and now I'm going to attach my antlers. I did glue the nose on to the crate, so I glued 2 of the tumbling tower blocks together to give it some height, and then I took a 3rd tumbling tower block and I glued that to the side to give it the antler shape, and then I'm going to go ahead and glue that to the top at an angle of each side of the crate. So you want to give it you know, the look of the antlers, so we don't want them to go straight up and down, we want them to be kind of to the side. Once I get both of those glued on, I'm going to add the eyes, and I'm using some buttons, and to give this project a little bit of dimension, I glue on a bottom set of buttons, and then I take some smaller black buttons and I glue those into the middle of the brown buttons. It gives it a more like whimsical eye look, and I really thought that that turned out cute. So once I get those glued on, I took some of this red and white buffalo check ribbon, also from the Dollar Tree in the Christmas section. This is my favorite ribbon because you can also use it for Valentine's and for 4th of July. So I always pick up a whole bunch of those. Then I took some of this face filler. I'm going to glue it into the middle of the bow. And then here is the final look of this project.
As quirky as mine, we're holding hands to keep each other warm while we stand and watch a choir performing all the Christmas songs that we love. Yeah, all the Christmas songs that we love. And in a while we're gonna go inside and drink our chocolate by the fire.
For this project, we're going to be making a snowman wreath, and to make this wreath, I picked up one of the Tinsel snowmen that they have at the Dollar Tree. These are plastic wreath forms, and they have these notches that go around the outside of the plastic part. The tinsel is wrapped around each one of the notches, and so it's super easy to unravel this. We're just going to take all the tinsel off all 3 pieces of the snowman, and we'll be left with a plastic wreath form. So I'm using this silver deco mesh that I got at the Dollar Tree. I wanted this to be a full Dollar Tree project, so I did not go out and buy any deco mesh. This was in my stash, but they do put out the silver ones at Christmas time. If you wanted to use black, you could definitely use black for the hat as well. So I'm using my cutting mat, and I'm measuring this deco mesh to be about 6 inches long. I'm going to cut this full roll of deco mesh, and then I'm going to cut another 7 white deco mesh rolls this same exact way. So once I get all my deco mesh cut, I'm going to be rolling them like a burrito style, and I take 3 of the pieces and I roll them, and then I make them into a bundle. I'm going to use a pipe cleaner to attach them together. Now when I use a metal wreath form, it really doesn't matter what color of pipe cleaner I use because you can't see it once you get all the deco mesh in there. I did feel like this one you could see a few pieces of my pipe cleaner, so definitely pick up a package of the white pipe cleaners to do the white part and a package of silver pipe cleaners to do the hat if you're doing it silver, or black if you're doing it black. But we're just going to be wrapping these bundles around the outside of this plastic frame. So there is a circular piece that goes on the inside, and then like a scalloped looking piece that goes on the outside. I wrapped it around one on one side and one on the other, and then I just secured it into the back. I am going to wrap the deco mesh bundles all around the outside. So this bottom circle took about 2 rolls of the deco mesh, and then it takes a little bit less as you go up the snowman's body. Altogether I used 7 rolls of the deco mesh. I had a few pieces left over that I went ahead and went back into the middle of some of them and added them there. So if you want more in the middle of these wreath forms, then you would need to use 8 packages. Once I get it on there, I fluff it out, and then I just go ahead and do that same method for all 3 of the circles. So once I get all the white pieces on, I'm ready to do the hat, and I'm just basically doing the same thing. There is a little bit less of the plastic wreath form up there, so I just go down in a straight line for the hat against the white part, and I'm just wrapping it around there, and then I go around the entire outside to make the hat. So for his scarf, I'm just using some ribbon I had in my stash. I am pretty sure this came from the Dollar Tree. If it didn't come from the Dollar Tree, it came from Dollar General. So I just tie it around like a scarf, and then I make a bow just by folding it over and cinching it together. And I tie that off with a pipe cleaner, and then I'm attaching that pipe cleaner into the plastic wreath form. So I did use a full-sized pipe cleaner for this part, just because I wasn't sure how much of the deco mesh I would need to go through, but I go ahead and I secure that into the scarf to make it look like it is part of the scarf, and then I'm going to tie that in the back. And then I'm going to take some more of these giant bells that I had, and I glue one to the middle of the ribbon, and then I fluff it out. I do go ahead and dovetail the ends as well. And then I'm going to add 3 more of the giant bells to the body to look like the buttons. You could add a face here if you wanted to. I chose not to. I liked the look of it just the way it was, but a face would also be just as adorable. And then here is a look at the final project.
Good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sand. You ready? Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in my heart. And I
These are just a few ideas to get you started on your Christmas decorating. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I have so many more DIYs to share. If you still want some more inspiration, check out this video of some Dollar Tree DIYs I did for Christmas. And as always, wherever you are in your journey is a perfect place to start. And I will see you in my next video.